Welcome back to the channel, everybody, and thank you for stopping by. Today on this episode, we're going to talk about XRP becoming the bridge asset layer that SWIFT is going to use to move trillions of dollars of stable coins and fiat currency and CBDCs around the world every year. So we're also going to talk about Sibos 2025, which is an event put on by SWIFT every year. You have players like the DTCC's president. He's going to be a speaker there, and the DTCC moves quadrillions of dollars every year. So when you think about the magnitude this event's going to be and the players that are going to be at this event, major things are going to come from this. Just as we have seen, every time these people get together at summits, there's always massive news coming out. So you want to pay attention to these kind of things. Also, we're going to talk about digital assets, where they are now and where they're going to be headed. And SWIFT released a PDF breaking down digital assets, where they are now and where they're going forward. So let's dive on in and see what's going on out there. So right over here from SWIFT, like I said, they released this PDF. It is scaling digital assets from experiments to mainstream adoption. Gives you an idea what they're talking about. They're already done with the experimental side. They're moving to the mainstream adoption. Understand that's what's going on, and that's why that Sibos 2025 is very important for you to pay attention to. So through this PDF, you'll see this quote from Tom, the Chief Innovation Officer of SWIFT. With our vast global reach, SWIFT is uniquely positioned to bridge both emerging and established forms of value, crypto and fiat and CBDC. Understand what he's trying to say here. And we're now focused on demonstrating this in real-world mainstream applications. Now they are bringing it to the real world. As you know, in November, that's when all the banks have to be ISO 20022 compliant. You hear it directly from their Chief Innovation Officer. So let's go into Sibos. One of the things I posted from Sibos, I brought out of that, was the new playbook payments, enabling banking innovation through interoperability, transparency, and end-to-end tracking across networks. That sounds like XRP to me. I'm gonna step back and address, I do realize I switched those words around. I told you guys I'm dyslexic. I'm gonna leave it in. So this is huge. This is one of the reasons I think XRP is that bridge currency. And you start to see this kind of unfold as we keep going here. So let's keep going. So who's going to be there? I touched on it. The DTCC's president's going to be there, but who else is going to be there? So we have head of global clearing for Bank of America. Then we have Deutsche Bank. Then you have the DTCC, like I already said, European Central Bank, head of divisions, market infrastructure development. You have Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan. Let's keep going. The NASDAQ, you have Standard Charter, you have Santander. Then of course, a bunch of people from SWIFT will be presenting as well. So like I said, this is going to be a big event. If you look at these names in here, I'm just going to kind of throw out some titles. You have founder and CEO, president, you have vice presidents, you have general managers, you have global adoption. All these people are coming together to talk about digital assets. So when they're at these events, you need to understand that when they get together, they're not formulating rules and regulations. They're sharing what they're doing and how they're going to adopt it. They already have that information. They just need to now get it signed into law. That's where we're at right now when we talk about crypto adoption. It's about to be implemented full swing by 2026. I want to kind of unveil that as we keep going here, so stick around. So keep going. If you don't know about SWIFT, this is a quick little summary of what SWIFT and who they are. It says who we are. SWIFT is unique. As a globally inclusive cooperative, we were established to find a better way for a global financial community to move value in a reliable, safe, and secure way. We now have more than 11,500 SWIFT members across 200 plus countries. But this is the piece you really want to pay attention to right here is every 3 days, we move the equivalent of the world's GDP over our network. Every 3 days, the global GDP gets moved through their network. Understand that value there. And there are going to be people say, well, hey, they're moving messaging, they're not moving dollars. Yes, that's technically true. I get all that. But the fact is they have to use this new technology to move that information, whether it be a dollar, whether it be a messaging system. In my eyes, I don't think it really makes a difference. The fact is it will be moved on these networks. That's what matters. So let's keep going. The rise of digital assets. Once an experimental concept, digital assets are moving rapidly towards the mainstream. This is where I want you to pay attention, so pay attention. Tokenization is set to become a multi-trillion-dollar market globally by 2030, according to industry forecasts. So keep in mind, by 2030, 4 short years from now or so, they are expecting trillions of dollars to be tokenized. So right now our market cap is just scratching around $4 trillion as far as crypto market as a whole. But tokenization, they're looking at trillions of dollars and the multi-trillions of dollars. I've heard of $30 to $35 trillion. There's a lot of different numbers out there where you want to go on, but everybody agrees it's going to be multi-trillion dollar market. So if you're in on this now, you are super early. So really appreciate the fact that you have this opportunity. And when you see the market dip, you always buy the dips, right? Net financial advice, do your research. That's why I post my links down below. Let's keep on going. It says making a real world impact today. I'm not going to read all the little subdivisions. We'll kind of give the top lines. Policy and regulatory evolution, legal advances, growing digital bond issuance, sorry, it kind of froze on me here, guys. Tokenized investment funds. Several large asset managers have issued high value tokenized investment funds, including BlackRock. Stablecoin surge. Stablecoin adoption continues to grow, driven by potential benefits of cross-border remittances and financial inclusion. Then CBDC development. 49 jurisdictions are actively piloting a CBDC, with China processing over 800 billion in CNY in 2024. So as you see, they've been testing it. Now they know it's good. They're adopting it. Then they're moving forward to now rolling out to the everyday populace, the retail version. So let's keep going. What am I talking about? We're going to touch on that, but they had to solve these problems first. So it says the path to scale. In our recent white paper, we identified 5 key areas that the industry must align to achieve true scale in digital assets, adoption at the global level. I'm not going to read all the details, but you hear what they're trying to say. This has been their pain point they had to solve, and they're trying to solve that now. And I think they already have, just based off the information in this video. As we're going to keep on going, you'll see what I'm talking about. But their top 5 pain points were agree on the roles and responsibilities, develop and agree on common standards, ensure fiat currencies can be used for payment, enable cross-chain interoperability, establish and maintain reference data. Those top 5 pain points, who does that sound like? It sounds like XRP, what XRP can provide, right? And let's keep going. This is actually from Tom himself. Again, he's the Chief Innovation Officer of Swift. I will not read his whole post because there is a lot to go over, but there are some things we need to touch on because it's important. It says, here's the thing. Finance doesn't flip overnight and barriers remain. Regulation is still fragmented. Platforms and networks don't interoperate cleanly. Legacy infrastructure is heavy. Risk appetite is cautious, and value only emerges at scale. That's key right there too. They have to go to scale to get the value, right? And it says, and here's the part most people miss, programmable money only works if everyone agrees on the same facts. Trusted data, consistent rules, and coordination across networks are just as important as the code itself. Without them, automation breaks down into chaos. Programmable money and assets are coming. The opportunity is massive, but adoption will be gated by trust, regulation, and scale. Trust and regulation and scale. Again, is that not Ripple? Ripple has all the above, right? So that's coming from the Chief Innovation Officer themselves from Swift. Well, let's keep on going because it doesn't end here. It says the rise of digital assets. Tokenization is set to become a multi-trillion-dollar market globally by 2030, according to industry forecasts. Again, trillions of dollars come to the market. Automating fiat money payments for on-chain transactions. This is where, again, this sounds like XRP at this piece right here is, in 2025, we will launch projects to automate cash settlements for on-chain transactions. Some will remain proof of concepts, while others aim for live trials. One project, for example, will test capturing DLT-based payment requests and processing them over Swift, including fiat digital payment bridging. XRP, right? Would you not agree? I mean, if you know how XRP is going to be utilized, that is exactly what they will provide not just XRP, but Ripple as well, is going to be that key point, in my opinion. But they also say one project, for example, they're not giving a name for a reason. When it comes to XRP, they really try not to use XRP. They'll say things like Ripple, or they should avoid it altogether. They really try to keep that hidden, so pay attention to that. So where are we going forward? So this right here is from Christian Catalini. If you're not sure who he is, we're going to kind of go into his history a bit. But his post was, or his quote, "Stable coins enter the establishment. What happens now?" So stable coins are here. They're adopted. The technology is here. They're going to adopt it. What is the process going forward? But first, it's important you know who Christian is. So let's dive into a little bit about Christian's background. It says in 2018, and serves an advisor to companies like Coinbase, Algorand, Chainlink, and Delphia. So these are companies you might want to take a little look at, right? And is a board member at HiveMind Capital. Since 2013, he has been a member of the US CFTC Commission's Technology Advisory Committee. I did go back to the CFTC just to validate this is true. So you'll see right over here, Christian Catalini from Lightspark. Look into Lightspark. You can't invest in them right now unless you are a tier 1 investor. But keep an eye on Lightspark and what they're doing, because he has been a part of a lot of crypto projects. He's actually the co-founder, a writer of, or helped write the Genius Act. So he knows what he's talking about, and he's highly respected. So anything he's doing or following, you want to follow as well. This is why I follow the money. This is why I follow the people that are moving the money and people that are making the laws and legislation, is because what they're doing next is what you want to invest in early before it becomes the massive adoption, as you're seeing right now in real life. So why is this important? What did he talk about? Well, again, we're talking about going forward. The adoption for stablecoins is here. You know they're going to do it. So what's the next thing they're going to focus on? Right here, he's telling you. It says, more broadly, the industry is now shifting its focus from issuance and exchange integration to distribution and user experience. As regulatory uncertainty dissipates, the biggest friction points will shift to the last mile, onboarding consumers and businesses, embedding stablecoins in invoices and payroll systems, and integrating them with POS, point of sale. This is a field that traditional banks, leading fintechs, and neobanks are already familiar with. Stablecoin as a service platforms may even emerge, providing the infrastructure, leaving consumer brands to focus solely on product design. So now we need to start paying attention to companies that are going to take stable coins and take this technology and push it to the market. Somebody to look at is like SHX, we have Stronghold, or ZBCN, ZBEC. This is two ones that are kind of interesting. There's a lot of back and forth whether or not they're good or not, so do your own research, but they're pretty interesting to see what they're going to be doing. And that's where the market's going to now, is how do we get this technology to mass adoption through retail? Well, it's interesting that this is coming up because this happens to perfectly align with Chainlink, working with the United States government for the commerce, putting everything on chain with Chainlink. But also right over here from Stellar, you have, for the first time in the US government's history, the Department of Commerce has begun putting economic data on the Stellar network. So here you go right here. The United States government is using XLM Stellar. So it might be one you want to check out. That's not financial advice, but our government's using it. Why wouldn't you be using it? Why wouldn't you be checking it out? It says the Commerce Department's adoption of blockchain to carry some of its most critical and market-moving economic data amounts to the U.S. government's seal of approval on technology that it's increasingly being used for trading everything from money market funds to stocks and beyond its origins in cryptocurrency. So it's, again, beyond cryptocurrency, it's also moving any kind of data. This stuff moves data, it moves value, it moves numbers. It doesn't care what it is. That's the technology. So everything is becoming more instant. Doctor visits, waiting for your file to get switched from a doctor to doctor. It's going to be instant now. Everything's going to be on chain. So you see this is now becoming an evolution to adoption. We've figured out the digital assets. We figured out the stable coins. Now we're moving to mass adoption. So pay attention to the companies that are going to bring this to retail. You're going to see a lot of people fighting over, space in this market, just as you do with any other company. So pay attention to the big players out there because they are moving and they are telling you it's coming. So hopefully you found something in this video informational, valuable. If you did, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing because it is huge and I really do appreciate it. And that's all I have for you on this episode. But hey, take care of yourself, take care of the people around you, and be that change you want to see. So until then, guys, I will see you on the next one.